What is going on, everybody? It is episode 818 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I am so excited, low-key, to just not hear ads for tax filing services anymore.
Ah, yes. Well,
it's just been non-stop.
It is tax day, ladies and gentlemen. I did put a poll up in the chat. I said, did you file your taxes on time? I said I gave you a yes, a no, and a taxation is theft.
The secret third thing.
And so far, taxation is
no.
theft is winning.
It's a maybe. We have
yeah.
a 20 from Shane H. Wilder. Happy Taco Tuesday, Brett and Mary. I dropped a short of Mary singing beautiful things with Taco Bell and she was a mean girl. I personally thought it was funny, but I have a sardonic sense of humor. They thought I was being mean to Benson Boone. They're crying for Benson Boone right now.
For covering his...
He's a victim.
For covering his ripoff of Heart-Shaped Box by Nirvana.
These beautiful things that I know.
It's not a cover of Heart. What you guys don't know is somewhere on like an iPhone somewhere, I have a video of Ian performing that song a cappella. Not the Benson Boone one. The Nirvana.
Yeah.
I have a video of Ian performing Heart-Shaped Box by Nirvana like a cappella, and it's one of the greatest things you've ever seen in your entire life.
I've heard it live. I've had the privilege of hearing it live, and
I might need to like find that and just upload it without context to YouTube.
Yeah.
Or maybe to X.
No, yeah, post it on Twitter.
And just no context. Like, yeah.
Well, he would appreciate that.
He would. Guys, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. 1 like equals 1 tax collector sad because you got stuff done on time and didn't allow them to extort you. Though they probably will anyways. They'll tell you owe more money. So hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here. I should have brought my my wall of tax tax heroes, which is, I think, here. Or I'm sorry, I think at home. I think it went in a box that got brought home rather than to the from the castle to here. But many such celebrities
reassemble that,
bravely standing up to government tyranny as they steal your money. Yeah, I'm gonna get audited next year. Watch.
When you file your taxes, you're like, hey, wait.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I mean, that's how I felt when I was paying the government. I was like. So hit the like button on the video. I just
felt stupid, actually. I just felt like my brain turned off, and I was like, oh, I'm hitting buttons.
Yeah, get it done. You got to get it over with. So hit the like button on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Like I said, like button, because it tells the algorithm that you like the content. So thank you guys so much for that.
What if it makes no difference?
Well, look, whenever I go on like other channels, they're pretty like they do a good job of like, "Whoa, we got to get this many likes this episode, this many this," and I'm always like, "We don't ever do that."
Right, because it's like, if you like the video, then that's your business. Like it if you want to like it, but if you don't want to like it, like, okay, F you then.
No, it's my business. Like the video.
No, we're making it our business.
I was telling you.
Do you need to talk about this shade of green right now? It's brat green. That's what it is.
It is. So I bought this energy drink. I normally don't drink the 3D energy drinks, and I was just confounded. I was confounded by the color because it looked like they were trying to do like Mountain Dew yellow and then puked all over it. And you're right.
I thought you said it was mellow yellow.
It looks like mellow yellow, but then somebody added a tinge of green to it. Doesn't it?
It's more slime than neon anything. Yeah. But I told you before we were on air.
The color of the summer.
The color of the summer or of 2025 entirely is butter yellow.
So
in case you hadn't heard.
What's the reasoning for that? Like, they don't just like say, here's an article about the color for the summer, and then they just list the color and that's the end of the article. They got to have some type of reasoning behind it.
What was that?
That's what I was talking about earlier. I don't know what that sound was.
Were you guys able to hear that?
If so,
I don't know.
Not my fault.
As audible, through the stream as it is audible to us in the room with it, but there's this horrible crashing noise.
I don't know what it is.
Because it's windy outside. I think that has something to do with it. I don't know what's going on.
I'm gonna pretend like it didn't happen.
I don't know why butter yellow is the color of the year.
Okay.
I should probably study up on the ideological explanations for why that is, but I'll report back when I do.
It wasn't that I couldn't find any Monster. I was at the dollar store and I was like, this looks interesting. So that's what we're drinking today.
It only cost you $1?
$1, or might be $1.25. It's kind of okay. So here's the thing: like, there are certain types of monster that you can get at the dollar store for $1.25, but they're the ones that nobody wants.
Like what?
What
Not
is it?
Zero Ultra.
No. It's like this really disgusting kiwi strawberry. It's not good at all. And then the other one is called Papillion, and I don't even know what that means, but it's actually pretty good. I think that means it's
butterfly flavored.
There's butterflies on the logo.
That's literally like a butterfly.
I don't know what a butterfly tastes like, so I couldn't actually tell you, but that one's actually kind of good. The kiwi strawberry one makes me want to puke.
It just reminds me of that kid who injected a butterfly into his veins. Remember that?
No. When did that happen?
You must have blocked it out because we talked about talking about it, and you were like, no, that's too depressing. The kid pureed a butterfly and injected it into himself and died.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's a real thing that happened. We didn't cover it because it was so bizarre and like sad.
People in the
chat.
But
we're covering bizarre, sad things today as well.
Oh, today's going to be bad.
We have a 20. What is everyone saying?
No, I'm saying it's going to be bad because we got
in the chat.
Oh, they were saying that I shouldn't drink energy drinks.
Well, you know, you're not his mom. Pop Culture Junkie said some Minecraft scenes were changed due to bad reaction from the first trailer. Sonic's design was changed after fans savaged the trailer. Both made tons of money. Will trailers become beta tests before a film's release?
I mean, the myth always used to be like they're going to fix the CGI before the release. That never actually happens. The movie always ends up looking... Unless somebody can give me some good concrete examples of like a scene that looked a certain way in a trailer and then in the finished product it looked better. Maybe there are a couple examples, but in general, when you see a scene in a trailer, it's going to look like that way in the movie.
Joker Folie Do kind of did the reverse of that, where they sold you a way better movie in the trailer and then got rid of those scenes entirely. The ones that everyone wanted to see. They were like, oh, you want to see that scene where they're dancing on the steps? Let's just cut that and get rid of that. And I didn't know that they removed scenes from Minecraft that were in the trailer. Which ones were those?
I mean, look, when they make trailers, from what I understand about the trailer editing process, is those get sent to a company that cuts together the trailer, and
there's
they
like
give them
one guy who does all the voiceovers.
And they, well, no, you don't even hear that in trailers anymore.
No, like, now it's all just scenes from the movie, and it starts
text on screen.
It starts out with "You're about to watch trailer for this movie."
Yes.
Are you ready? Trailer starts now.
So when I watched the old JB's Spooky Reviews X-Files recap episodes, at the end of every episode he includes like the 30-second TV spot for that episode with trailer guy's voice, like where it's got an actual guy announcing the trailer.
I miss voiceovers in trailers.
I do too.
I think that was quaint. Yeah. They all used to be like, he was an ordinary guy.
Just think what they could have done for John Wick. It could have been like, they stole his car.
Yeah.
They killed his dog.
Not even the original?
No, that's actually what they do for the honest trailer for John Wick 1. They put like, they stole his car.
begins.
They killed his dog. Now he's going to kill 137 people.
Bwah.
Bwah.
Higher pitched. Bwah. Yeah.
So what do we got to talk about today? We've got a bunch to talk about. Harvey Weinstein is back in the news because there's a retrial coming up, and he has found some unexpected allies in Candace Owens and Joe Rogan. Actually, I would consider Joe Rogan an unexpected ally. Candace Owens, not as much. She goes looking for cases that seem to have been reported on one way and sees if there's another perspective to it.
Yeah, but there were aspects of that surprised me. We'll get into it.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about Ozempic. The celebrities all love it, all except for Amy Schumer, which I found shocking.
Yeah, I would have expected she'd be one of the people on it.
Yeah, well, you know.
But I guess she's sticking to her principles. Being fat means you're funny.
Yep, she's gonna stick to what she believes in. So we're gonna talk about that. You know what? She should have a sit down interview with who is the other one that I always forget her name. The one who was outed a couple of years ago. Rebel Wilson.
Oh.
They should have a sit down and talk about it.
Yeah, because wasn't Rebel Wilson on Ozempic, or did she lose the weight naturally?
I think she lost the weight naturally.
I think she lost the weight by actually like putting in the work.
At the very least, she lost the weight before Ozempic was part of the public discourse.
Yeah,
they should
maybe
have a
she
sit
was
down
one
and
of the
talk about it.
first people who adopted it.
So we'll talk about that. Also, boy moms, they need to be stopped.
Yeah, I've just noticed
gone too far.
This trend of boy moms on social media, and I just feel like it's time for a referendum on boy moms.
All right.
It's time to call them out.
All right, we got a bunch of other stuff to get into. If you're ready, we can just get started. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
To my surprise, there has been a strong feminist backlash against the Girlboss trip to space sponsored by Blue Origin. This was originally sold to us in the media as a huge milestone in women's liberation, actually. Like, all of these powerful women are launching themselves into space, and somehow this means that it's helping all women, actually. Even though they had nothing to do with accomplishing the task, aside from training, I suppose, this was sold to us as a feminist accomplishment.
All of these women are taking expensive tourist vacations. I just fixed it for you.
That's exactly what they did. And, you know, that's fine. I don't have a problem with them going on a space tour. It's
correct.
That's fine. Do what you want to do. It's a photo op. But I wasn't expecting prominent feminist celebrities to speak out against this and call out how ridiculous it was that they framed it as this accomplishment for women, including some of the worst offenders like Emily Ratajkowski. But first off, Olivia Munn, surprisingly enough, she was the first celebrity who criticized the all-female trip to space, saying, what are they doing? I know this probably isn't a cool thing to say, but there are so many other things that are so important in the world right now. I know this is probably obnoxious, but it's so much money to go to space, and there's a lot of people who can't even afford eggs. What's the point? Is it historic that you guys are going on a ride? I think it's a bit gluttonous. Space exploration was to further our knowledge and to help mankind. What are they going to do up there that has made it better for us down here? Well, Katy Perry revealed her next album track list. I don't know if that really helps humanity or women in general, but I think that she was making the same point you were trying to make yesterday very succinctly, and it's one that wasn't lost on me.
This is a have and a have not argument here. This
partly.
is okay. Mine is not that. Mine is that they're taking credit for something when they didn't actually accomplish anything. This is saying we should be using our money for other things. If you're rich and you can afford to go do this, go do it. But be like, I was a tourist. Remember, they kept calling them crew.
Yes.
They're not the crew. They're passengers. When I get on an airplane and I travel from here back home, they don't announce me as crew on the plane. I am a passenger on the plane. Okay?
Right.
If you acknowledge them that they're just expensive, rich, vapid celebrities that spent their money on something they want to spend their money on, more power to you. But stop talking about it like it was a big achievement for all womankind. Women have had money for a long time, believe it or not.
Right, but nobody called them out for misusing their money on all sorts of other things.
Like what?
That would be like if you called out Katy Perry for buying a Birkin and said that she ought to have donated that money to Gazan children. Like, I don't think that that's a relevant argument.
The thing is they love, like Hollywood and celebrities, they love these types of arguments without ever actually acknowledging the fact that they are the haves. Right? Like the whole point I made yesterday, I don't know if anybody saw this, but the lead actress, Ellen Pompeo from Grey's Anatomy, was like, why? I'm not leaving this show. I don't want somebody else to make money off of my work. And I was like, look, you want to keep the fruits of your labor. The revolution will not be kind to you, comrade. Like the industry that she's in espouses that type of rhetoric while being a very hyper-capitalist industry.
Yes.
There's a problem there. There's an issue with a lack of like intellectual consistency, but I don't know if they think of it that way. When it comes to the ones who are criticizing it, I think it's fair to criticize the fact that it was being promoted as something monumental. Yeah. But I don't think there's anything worth criticizing about women spending their money the way they want to spend it.
As for Olivia Munn, I'm not interested in hearing her ethical screeds because she hired a surrogate to birth her baby. So aside from that, Emrata chimed in on her TikTok saying that she found it disgusting
Let's watch this video here.
Space mission this morning. That's end time shit. Like, this is beyond parody. Saying that you care about Mother Earth and it's about Mother Earth and you're going up in a spaceship that is built and paid for by a company that's single-handedly destroying the planet. Look at the state of the world and think about how many resources went into putting these women into space. For what? For what was the marketing there? And then to try to make it like, I'm disgusted. Literally, I'm disgusted.
Cry me a river.
So this is about the climate.
Yes.
So she's blaming Jeff Bezos. For
Is that
destroying
her in
the
a
climate.
private jet?
Yeah.
Those are also very bad for the environment. Why
Hey.
don't you pack yourself into a gigantic sardine can with 15 to 50, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 other people to save the environment?
It's because Emily Ratajkowski is so famous. She's going to get mobbed. She's going to
course.
get mobbed by all of her fans if she goes to a commercial airline.
I have more disdain for activists than I will ever have for the richest, most self-absorbed celebrity.
She is not known for her intellectual consistency, that's for sure. Railing against the objectification of women, even though she was literally the chick in the Blurred Lines video. But aside from that, Amy Schumer also gave her take on the space trip in these really weird glasses that she's wearing. I don't know what's going on with this look.
Guys, last second, they added me to space, and I'm going to space. I'm bringing this thing. It has no meaning to me, but it was in my bag, and I was like on the subway, and I got the text, and they were like, do you want to go to space? So I'm going to space, and thank you to everyone who got me here, and I'll see you guys in space.
She's, I think, throwing shade at Gayle King, who brought her grandchildren's stuffed animals with her on the rocket because, I don't know, they wanted to send their stuffed animals to space.
The Olivias were all over this.
Yeah, Olivia Wilde, another outspoken Hollywood feminist, criticized this, saying on her Instagram story, $1 billion bought some good memes, I guess.
Again, I'm never going to care to tell somebody else how to spend their money.
What billion is she talking about? It's an expensive trip, but it's not in the billions.
I don't know. I
Like,
guess just because Jeff Bezos is
Blue
a billionaire.
Origin?
Just Jeff Bezos is a billionaire.
I never saw anyone speaking out against Blue Origin until now.
Yeah, nobody cared. Well, it's because
Nobody cared when men were doing
it's space tourism. They don't have to worry about that with Elon, even though I mean I don't know if Blue Origin has government contracts. I bet you they do. But
Sure.
like Elon, there's plenty to hate about Elon for people on the left or the far left for other reasons that have nothing to do with space flight or like say Tesla.
Well, it's funny
So
because
Blue Origin they can criticize because of the environment, I guess.
I pointed this out on IRL like not too long ago that Elon used to be seen as a climate activist because of course, you know, he's making these electric
Tesla.
cars and it's green, and I remember seeing Teslas when they were far less common and rolling my eyes at people who owned them because I knew that they were shit libs. They were
Okay.
buying it because they were some people who bought into the whole climate agenda.
Wait, so was that only for Teslas or any electric car?
Well, they're most recognizable, of course. I mean, I'm sure there are others that I just didn't remark upon as much. But weirdly enough, Wendy's threw shade at Katy Perry for going on the space
Look,
trip.
this was just a social media manager getting in on the hype.
Wendy's was like one of the first fast food chains to get a millennial intern for social media purposes, and then all of them followed suit by trying to engage in the online discourse with people and seem like organic.
What was the
and,
one?
like-
It was like Neil deGrasse Tyson would fight with Steakums on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or something
yeah.
like that?
Like, I prefer the Radio Shack approach.
Yes.
More than the Wendy's approach.
That
but
is more chaotic, and that's and plus Radio Shack is Radio Shack still a company? I think it's just
it's
the
just
Twitter.
the guy. Wendy's reacted to Katy Perry's return from space saying, "Can we send her back?" What is all this hate for Katy Perry? She's like not an offensive person.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if she's ever done anything to deserve this much hate, but
Well, no,
Kesha,
it's she worked with Dr. Luke. That's
right,
why.
but that has nothing to do with what Wendy's tweeted. Kesha jumped on that and posed with a Wendy's cup because she
Again,
hates Katy Perry for working with Dr. Luke.
Who is accused of harming her.
And
Yes.
this is just turned into a whole thing that has nothing to do with the space trip.
Yep.
Um,
But Katy Perry has some words of wisdom.
yeah, this is her argument for why this is really an accomplishment for women all over the planet.
Here we go.
It is the highest high, and it is surrender to the unknown, trust, and this whole journey is not just about going to
Journey.
space. It's the training, it's the team, it's the whole thing. I couldn't recommend this experience more. This is like up there with all the, different tools that I've learned in my life, from meditation to the Hoffman process. This is up there because what you're doing is you're like really finding the love for yourself, because you got to trust in yourself on this journey. And
What?
then you're feeling the love when you come down, for sure. And you're feeling that strength. So I feel really connected to that strong.
I mean, I would hope to have more trust in whoever programmed the rocket.
I'm looking at what the Hoffman process is.
Divine feminine right now.
By the way, you're such a badass. I love that the month of April, you're like, I'm going to space and I'm launching my tour.
It is the high.
The divine feminine, huh?
So she's like one of those social media charlatans.
There's actually nothing feminine about going to space. Can I just say, the desire to explore the unknown and tread new territory and lay claim to the heavens and the earth, this is a male instinct.
No, you're wrong in this respect. The desire to go on a ridiculously expensive trip that accomplishes nothing is absolutely female.
In a rocket ship that looks like a Nissan Altima.
Yep, that like this is this is the divine feminine. That like now, if she was
Surrender.
if she studied and worked to become an astronaut and then to go explore the world, outer space, that would be male.
Right.
An expensive trip that doesn't ultimately actually do anything for you,
photos.
super feminine.
We have a 20 from Francisco Sanchez Jr. for the Let Us Send Brett to Space Fund. Yeah, eventually, I think it's like 75K per second in space. So
Yep.
you're going to have a while before you get to the end of that. I just found out what the Hoffman process is because she was mentioning that
what
in
is
her journey. It's a week-long residential and personal growth retreat that helps participants identify negative behaviors, moods, or ways of thinking they've developed unconsciously and were conditioned in childhood. So I'm guessing that Katy Perry is saying taking an 11-minute long trip to space healed her inner child more than anything else she's ever attempted in her life.
And if you were wondering about just how serious a trip like this would actually be considered, you too can now get the hair care products that the makeup products that Katy Perry was using to keep her makeup in place.
Yes,
It
this is her
says-
setting spray that she used on her glam that day.
To lock her makeup for Blue Origin.
Is this a brand deal or is
I mean,
this just...
I'm not somebody who usually uses the phrase late stage capitalism, but when
We're getting there.
When the false eyelashes fit, they fit. Mm-hmm.
You also see Oprah Winfrey crying as she watched the launch.
My mom, when I land on an airplane on the other side of the country.
What is so emotional about this? I don't understand. And now the theories are...
Where was she when the woman came back from the International Space Station after being stranded there for like ever?
Good question.
Was
I think
Oprah
we'll get an
crying
answer.
then?
No,
I
don't think so. But yeah, now all of these people are saying that this all-female Blue Origin trip was a gigantic psyop, that it never happened. They never launched into space. We're all getting fooled. This is some kind of humiliation ritual. And Milo
They're
actually
saying
said...
Gayle King is her best friend.
Okay.
Do you,
whatever.
okay.
She thought Gayle King was gonna die in there.
Yes. Okay. Continue.
But Milo said anyone who has ever heard people talk about their ayahuasca experience knows this exact tone and phrasing and has heard these words. They didn't go to space. They did a bunch of psychedelics together, and they're laughing at anyone who believes them. Do you think that they did drugs in space, or that they...
No, I don't.
This was all like just the high of launching yourself into orbit?
I do. I think
adrenaline
I think
rush.
the rareness of the experience is enough to do that.
Yeah. I don't personally believe the theory that this was all faked. I do think that it was a real thing, and it was stupid.
Yep. Hit the like button, hit the like button on this video, but also refresh the stream if you're having problems. Somebody asked if the stream is okay. It says it's fine on my end. So
I heard
make sure
that hitting the like button helps.
I've heard that hitting the like button always fixes the stream. So, all right. Well, now that we've got the fun stuff out of the way, this one's a bit depressing.
This is very dark, very disturbing. A video game recently got banned on Steam, and it's called No Mercy. This is an R-word simulator. I don't know if I can say the word, especially this early into the stream. But that's essentially what it is. And I'm surprised because I didn't know that pornographic material was allowed on Steam in general. Maybe it wasn't, and they hadn't discovered that this was on the platform until there was a huge outcry from activists to remove it. We have a 20... from Viperus 25. The first fast food company to troll online was Wendy's, but the first fast food company to use trolling for advertisements was Taco Bell in the late 1980s, and Burger King solely exists just to troll McDonald's. Brett is like the only person I know who like actually goes to Burger King.
Been a long time, but
Burger King
it's
is
been
a
known to
psyop.
happen before.
So this was a petition started by an organization called Collective Shout. I know nothing about this organization. I had only heard of it through this controversy. But they were the ones who petitioned to have this game banned from Steam and removed from all platforms. And it was successful.
Yeah.
I think that Steam allowed it because they weren't aware of it, and once it was brought to media attention, they were prompted to delete it. But some people are saying this was not the right move and that they should have kept it on the platform. But once you learn the details about this video game, I think it's more complicated than that. So let me just read through the game promotion as it was stated by the authors at this video game company called Zerat Games. This was their promotion. Warning, this is not your average love story. After catching your own mother betraying your father, you uncovered the true nature of women, especially her.
Hold, please.
Thank you.
I was looking at it. I was like, oh, horrible timing.
It is horrible timing. It always is. We're just dancing through the pain.
I'll cut this out in the segment later.
I'll just restart. Warning, this is not your average love story. After catching your own mother betraying your father, you uncovered the true nature of women, especially her. But she's no ordinary housewife. She's hiding a dark secret that's haunted her for years. Now it's your turn to uncover it, blackmail her, expose her, and rebuild your family on your terms. Own her. In this game, you'll either become every woman's worst nightmare, or rather, the best beep they've ever had. Your goal is simple. Leave no beep non-effed, since that's the only thing they all want. Never take no for an answer. F your mom, F your aunt, and even F your friend's mom. Why not? Already a fan favorite in the NSFW game insist community. Take what's yours and show no mercy. Yeah. So I think you get the premise of the game just from that description alone, and why there was an outcry to have it removed and not be accessible, especially to under 18 users on Steam.
Yep.
It was labeled as 18 plus, but the trailer for the game and the game itself was still accessible to minors on the platform. Regardless, I object to anyone obviously using a game like this because it's funny to me. One of the biggest counter arguments to having it removed, or the counter arguments to this petition, was it's a game, it's not real life, why do you care, right? Obviously, I think that that's intellectually dishonest because it goes without saying that the media we consume and engage with influences us.
So you fall into the camp of believing, or like, do you believe that like violent video games make people violent? That's just an age-old discussion. So it's like it's actually from a time like before you were.
It is
like it really is. Like I'm not actually asking
because
that question.
That was like the whole Columbine.
So that was a big debate when I was growing up. Was like, do violent video games make people violent? Do violent movies make people violent?
I think that if someone has a propensity already for violence, that probably engaging with violence in media, be it video games or otherwise, probably has a negative effect.
The argument
That's what I would say in reference to like Columbine, which is the center of that controversy.
The argument against the censorship will always be like, look, your home, like so much has to go wrong for that to happen, right? So you don't come from a happy, healthy, loving home, play a violent video game, and suddenly become a psychopath.
However, I don't think that we just need to talk about the consequences either.
Okay.
Even if you could argue and prove that all of the people playing this video game were not taking these attitudes or behaviors into their real lives, I still think it would be wrong for them to play it, because it has a negative effect on you on a spiritual level, similarly to people saying it was wrong for Kai Cenat to like abuse that robot, right? He's like kicking around this robot. Of course, it's a robot. It doesn't have hurt feelings. You can't injure it. That's not the problem people were pointing out. They were pointing out that your desire to hurt something helpless is something that you should not encourage within yourself.
The other point of discussion here, and I can't add more to that because like you'll have a different take on it spiritually as somebody with religious beliefs. We had a discussion before the show about the difference between how we perceive physical violence versus sexual violence. How murder is a capital offense, yet we do believe as a society, not as a whole, so not everybody here necessarily believes that a murderer can be redeemed or forgiven, whereas sex crimes are viewed as unforgivable, right? And I see people in the chat bringing up running over prostitutes to get your money back in Grand Theft Auto, right? There is something that is perceived differently between violence of a physical nature and violence of a sexual nature.
Yes.
It's different.
It is different. It's not just a perception. It is different. And sexuality, the faculty of sexuality is so viscerally meaningful to who we are as people that I think it's quite obvious why those types of crimes are more offensive to our sensibilities.
There's a 20 there. From DC&C.
Let me see.
It says, based on court sentencing, murder is a worse crime than anything else. That's what the culture has agreed. Most of the games on Steam involve murder of some variety. I don't... Okay, so the courts have decided that murder is a worse crime than anything else. But socially now, I believe that rape is considered a far more unforgivable crime than homicide.
Well, it's also not just viewed as unforgivable. It's also correctly viewed as something that you cannot really rehabilitate someone from after the fact. I would agree that maybe there are some murderers who can rehabilitate and integrate themselves back into society. The recidivism rates for sex crimes are abominable, and that's just statistically proven. Yeah. So that's another reason why people see it as a worse crime than just violence of any kind. But it was announced earlier this week that this game did end up getting banned, and Collective Shout said, "This is the news we have been waiting for." and our supporters have made it possible. More than 3,000 emails to the Steam CEO, Gabe Newell, 70,000 signatures on our petition, global media attention, making it loudly known that we object to 3D R-word plus insist simulation games that treat sexual violence as entertainment. This is a victory because there were so many who cared enough to protest.
I see people bringing up, Umbra says SVU runs nonstop on the USA Network. They're not the protagonist.
No, I don't think anybody is masturbating while watching Law and Order SVU either.
I mean, maybe if they're just watching the USA Network and they just really love the USA Network.
That's literally just you. No one else. But yeah, the game developers behind No Mercy have responded to the controversy and offered a statement in defense of this game. Zerat Games says, I fully understand that for many people such things may be disgusting, but during sex, people should really do what they want as long as they don't harm anyone. Okay. If after reading our statement you still believe that such a game should not have been created, we would like you to be a bit more open to human fetishes that don't harm anyone, even though they may be disgusting to you. This is still just a game, and although many people are trying to make it into something more, it remains and will continue to be a game.
So they're using the don't kink shame argument.
Right, but your kink is harming people. So
no, their argument is no real people
that.
are being harmed. Their argument is that the characters are not real people, therefore it's not harming anyone.
Yeah, my argument in response to that is both. This does influence the way that people think and behave because, of course, the media we consume influences the way we think and behave. That's why Hollywood exists, to condition people's thoughts and behaviors. But not only that, just aside from that argument, let's throw that aside. Let's say that the media we consume has zero effect on our thoughts and behaviors, which is obviously idiotic. I do think that playing this game without bringing these behaviors into your real life, which hopefully is the case for most people using it, is still detrimental to you on the level of your psyche, and it's a self-harm to play a game like this, to watch pornography, to needlessly coarsen your soul this way. That's my argument against it, but that's not going to resonate with people in a secular culture where everything is okay as long as it's not harming anyone. We don't have an agreed consensus on what harm is, which is why that argument falls flat every time, in my view. So, yeah, that's all I have to say.
I would say that even in the world of secular belief, like a lot of people are like, look, we've spent a lot of time normalizing stuff. Like maybe it's time to not normalize so often.
Yeah, let's normalize less things and let's stigmatize more things. I'm generally on that side of whatever argument.
I would be interested to know, guys, you should share down in the comments where at whatever point you're getting into this episode, your thoughts on this one. Because I imagine that from a religious perspective, you're going to have a lot more self-assurance about what you believe the right move is here from as opposed to people who may not have a religious underpinnings to their belief system.
I want to know what your take is on this argument against removing the game. It has nothing to do with the ethics of playing it. One said, nobody had ever heard of this game before, and now it's going to receive thousands or hundreds of thousands of extra downloads when it's published on a different site.
Is that the Streisand effect?
They're saying it's getting Streisand effect.
I mean, that's true. I objectively agree with that. I think that if it remained obscure and nobody talked about it, it would have reached very few people and then it would have just stayed in the bowels of the internet. But now, because it's getting all this coverage, it's going to reach farther and wider than it ever could have if they had just left it alone.
I'd imagine that the people who petitioned for its removal would simply say that this means less money is going to the people who created it, which is true.
Chat, let us know. I would be interested to know what. Yeah, I feel like this is one that will definitely get people who come down on both sides of the argument, depending on what their worldview is. So,
yeah.
All right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day? If I'm being honest, it wasn't as depressing as I thought it was going to be. That one. It was depressing, but
we kept it clinical.
Yeah.
You know. Just the facts.
Okay.
Didn't have to watch anything gross.
All right. All right. Let's do cringe of the day first.
Yes.
We'll do cringe of the day first.
This
Get it out
one's
of the
pretty
way.
bad.
All right.
It's a street interview cringe.
Here we go. Hold on.
Here in LA. Can rather be in Swindon, but unfortunately I'm here in LA. Can ask Americans questions and see what they say. Guys, capital of England.
The capital of England? What is the capital of England? I want to know. I gotta be smart.
London.
Out here. Are you serious? And I'm actually very smart, so.
How smart are you?
Smart with like writing and English and things like that.
What's your favorite word?
Philosopher? I don't know. Manifestation, probably. Like I basically alchemize a lot of negative energy and put it into positive, so.
It gets worse. It gets so much worse.
I feel like she works for Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Man? Yes.
No, we're just friends.
Do you want to be more than friends? Absolutely yes.
No. I'm not trying to do that. Physically, he's not exactly my type, but he's really cool. He's a cool person. I like him as a friend, but yeah.
This is fake. I refuse to believe that this is real. Like, you don't get to go from stupid American to
Awful rejection video.
no. You don't get to go from stupid American to hippie manifestation chick to awful rejection chick.
In the span
This
of
isn't
like 30
possible.
seconds.
This is fake. He's got like a redhead Willem Dafoe look going for him here. Come on, give this dude a break.
Yeah.
How do you feel that you're not her type? Very nice to meet you. Goodbye.
He didn't say anything.
Very nice to meet you.
Just
It's got to be fake.
the
man.
despair in his eyes. Yeah, that was pretty bad, huh?
Wow, I hated that.
What's your
I mean-
favorite word, Brett?
Um,
Do you have a favorite word?
no.
I don't know if I do either. That wasn't a fair question.
Yeah, I'd have to.
But
Have,
she had to slip in alchemize to make sure everyone knew that she has a wide vocabulary.
Brett. That's my favorite word. My own name.
I like that for
There
you.
you go.
Yeah. That is
Um,
actually scientifically true. Everyone's favorite word is their own name.
Oh, that was fake. It's got to be fake. I can't believe that was real. All right. Also, you know what? His question about the capital of England is stupid, because have you ever seen it when British people or Europeans try to talk about like light rail travel and trains here, and they don't realize that America is like the size of like just how big America
Yeah.
is. They think that you can travel across America in like 8 hours.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Not understanding the nuances of another country is not a flaw.
I do think that you should know that the capital of England is London, though.
No.
Like, that
no.
should be
Bro,
common knowledge.
Mary asked me before. I knew the answer. You don't need to know.
No, but you knew the answer and refused to say.
You don't need to know, Kings. You don't need to know. Somebody asks, give the wrong answer on purpose.
The color of the year is butter yellow.
Yep.
The capital of England is London. These things should be common knowledge, but they're not.
What if they were like, yeah, what's the capital of this place? Like, just like, hit back at him. Like, hit back at him and ask him another dumb, inane question. Street interviewer person.
Yeah, they never seem to.
What's the capital of North Dakota?
Well, okay, if you asked a British person any state capital, they'd probably have no idea.
What's the capital of New York State?
They wouldn't know.
Okay, so there you go. Here we go. Let's do cute of the day.
We need palate cleansers.
We do. This one's from Mel's Bells. These are my girls. This is their first year experiencing snow, and this is them waiting for their daily snack. Me and my boyfriend watch your show every day. This is our contribution to your prestigious Cute of the Day segment.
It's so far away I can't see.
It is. Hold on. There's closer.
There he is. I can't see that one either.
Bunch of them there. We watched this. I showed Mary this crazy AI video of like world leaders taking acid today. That was.
It felt like 2 hours and it was only 2 minutes. But I feel like you need to have the Drake song in the background to make it what it is.
Which one? Oh, I wasn't listening to it. Was it a Drake song in the background?
Yeah.
Also, the other thing The other thing was I was laughing because I was like, "How if AI is bad? Why are these AI videos of cats taking care of babies so awesome?"
I do love those.
Yeah, like if
can't
AI
lie.
is so bad, tell me why this video makes me so happy. It was like me and Olivia watching him last night. I was like, yeah, okay.
I like the ones where the AI cat gets rejected by the girl and then he goes to the gym and gets really
No,
buff.
I hate like those end up becoming Sigma grind set videos. Like
I love
cat
those.
Sigma grind set videos. Also, those channels that have those cat AI videos that are cute are a trap because then you look at the rest of them, they're all fucked up.
Really?
The rest of them are all fucking weird.
Thanks for
like-
the warning.
Yeah, don't do it.
I wasn't really seeking out
Don't do it.
disturbing AI cat content.
Okay.
But okay.
All right. Let's go ahead and get started then.
Yeah. After about 8 years, it is time for a referendum on the Me Too movement in Harvey Weinstein's retrial. Last year, his New York State convictions were overturned because a judge ruled there were prejudices in the court. And I think that's mainly because they didn't just bring in witnesses who accused Harvey Weinstein of crimes against them. They also added character witnesses who had their own personal experiences with Harvey Weinstein, however dubious those stories may be. And it was only in an effort to bias the judge and bias the jury. And now that is why he is starting a retrial this month. It is going to be expected to be 4 to 5 weeks going through April and May. And I should say the stakes are relatively low because even if Harvey Weinstein gets exonerated of his New York State crimes,
He's not getting out of jail.
He's not getting out of jail because of his convictions in his Los Angeles trial. Maybe his lawyer's next plan is to go after those claims and appeal those claims. But it's unlikely that Harvey Weinstein is going to die anywhere but a jail cell. Currently, he's at Rikers Island. His health is deteriorating really badly. He's already been diagnosed with leukemia. They say he's struggling with tongue inflammation
I'm
right
sorry,
now.
but the funniest part about it is his glasses are comically crooked in every photo of him.
He does look quite disheveled, doesn't he?
As somebody who's consistently had glasses that
Yeah.
causes a problem, the struggle is real, even for creepy Hollywood abusers.
He's disheveled, but he is in surprisingly good spirits despite living in squalor with all of these health problems plaguing him, because it looks like the court of public opinion is still undecided. In fact, some people are now identifying themselves as Harvey Weinstein truthers. They're supporting him and looking into the details of this case, saying these testimonies don't hold up. It was this time in the culture where, of course, you had to believe all women, and Harvey Weinstein is the sacrificial lamb of the Me Too movement. I always said maybe the Me Too movement didn't go far enough because there are still all of these predators in Hollywood, especially against children, who were not convicted or called out anyway publicly. And Harvey Weinstein, who was accused of basically casting couch, is in prison and probably going to die there because of it. So Variety reported on this, saying that basically it's different this time around. Thank you.
The timing today is just rough.
It's rough. Yeah. No. I mean, I don't think this is dark. I don't think this topic is dark. But Variety is quoting his lawyers and other people involved who are saying that because the Me Too movement is officially dead and people no longer believe all women, this is a real chance that Harvey Weinstein could gain public favor back after all. Harvey Weinstein will face his third criminal trial this week in what is seen as the latest referendum on the Me Too movement, which began with his disgrace nearly 8 years ago. He's been incarcerated since 2020 on counts of rape and sexual assault, but the highest court in New York vacated his conviction last year and ordered a retrial. His defense team now hopes that a different judge and a changing political climate give them a chance at an acquittal. Jennifer Bonjean, one of his attorneys, says it's going to be a very different trial. The mob mentality that was so pronounced at his first trial has subsided. He's going to have the trial that he should have had all along. So
the thing I find most interesting about that, if I'm being completely honest, is also that it shouldn't matter, but public tensions and the time period in which a trial take place absolutely matter.
Yeah.
Theoretically, it shouldn't, because the letter of the law should be the letter of the law, but that's not how the real world works. So that has always been very, very interesting to me, because you'd like to think that in a perfect world, we'd believe that we have a criminal justice system. It's not perfect, but what the West has is about as good as you're going to get.
Yeah.
And that you would think that we would have found a way to get past something like that, but you can't. You can't get past the tone of the world. Like, it's like when people go back and re-examine the OJ trial and they talk about what that meant for the culture at the time. And what's weird is, like, people look back at that now, and back at that time, people still said that race relations in America were better during the OJ trial than they were during, say, George Floyd.
Chauvin, yeah.
But at the same time, then those same people said that the OJ's acquittal was a direct response to, what was it, Rodney King.
Yeah.
So it matters.
Right,
And it's shocking.
Members of the jury are just people at the end of the day, and they are influenced by those around them and by social media the same way we all are. And I imagine that they were getting swept up in the Me Too witch hunt when they were evaluating this case. They say the most obvious difference between his trial in 2020 and the retrial will be the number of accusers. At the first one, he faced testimony from 6 women, 3 whose allegations formed the basis of the charges, and 3 more to lend credibility and establish a pattern of his misconduct. So the 3 witnesses they brought in as basically character witnesses were only there to tell a personal story. They were not responsible for providing any evidence of what happened to them.
Again, and what evidence would exist 20 years later unless, someone had a rape kit run?
Right.
Like, I'm genuinely asking that question. Like, I said to you when we were prepping this segment, they were like, they argued one thing, the defense argued another thing unsuccessfully. I'm like, so one side gave one story, another side gave another story. And since evidence isn't really something that seems, I guess, outside of digital communication of some sort, there's not going to be physical evidence for something like this.
Only proving that they were in the same place at the same time as possible, basically, if all of this happened behind closed doors.
Yep.
So the 3 accusers that are going to testify at the retrial include Miriam Haley, who goes by Mimi Haley, Jessica Mann, and still an anonymous woman known only as CW3. But just to point out the absolute ridiculous nature of the character witnesses, I want to tell the story of one of them that testified at the trial in 2020, named Tyrell Wolf.
Okay.
So this is her story. Wolf, an aspiring actress, met Weinstein in 2005 while working as a cocktail waitress at an exclusive club. He was friends with the owner, and she alleges that one of her nights working at this club, Weinstein pulled her by the arm into the hall and up onto a private roof terrace as her manager closed the door, despite her expressing distress to him. What that probably means to a woman is giving him a look that's like, okay, so I don't know if it was clear to her manager that she felt she was in danger. Weinstein, according to her story, then masturbated in front of her until she ran away and switched tables with another waitress for the rest of the night.
Pulled the old Louis C.K. on her.
Here's where shit gets crazy, right? I don't know anything about how they exchanged contact info. How did they even know each other? But this is the next part. Hoping for a big break, Wolf set up a meeting with Harvey Weinstein.
So this chronologically takes place after the masturbation.
After the incident.
Okay.
Yes. Set up a meeting, and later, pay attention to the grammatical phrasing, by the way. This is all in the passive voice. She later was taken by car to his apartment.
So she did not drive a car. She did not order a car.
didn't get in a car with him, okay? She was taken by car. That makes it sound like she was kidnapped. This is the next sentence. She found herself in his bedroom. Oh, I just randomly materialized here in Harvey Weinstein's bedroom. And soon she had the full weight of Harvey Weinstein on top of her. She never spoke to him after the alleged assault and never told anyone about it. She simply did what she learned to do as a child. According to her defense, she tried to forget and move on, put on a brave face and pretend that nothing happened.
What I find weird about that language is that it doesn't make the assault, if it happened, any less horrific if you say, I went to his hotel room. It's still an assault. It's still something that shouldn't happen. But what they're doing is they're softening the language so that you don't feel as if they made a decision to put themselves in that position. That doesn't make the assault okay.
Right.
But they're trying to muddy the logic around how you'll perceive the incident.
Right, exactly. And there were so many accusers, I think close to 100 accusers of Harvey Weinstein by the time it was all said and done. And once you get to that level of media saturation, we're not looking at the details anymore. And understandably, still, people see him as a monster. Personally, I'm not going to lose any sleep over Harvey Weinstein rotting in jail for the rest of his life, even if he is criminally innocent of these allegations. Because, you know, you play stupid games and win stupid prizes. This guy is obviously incredibly immoral, lecherous, disgusting, perverted, and he was also cheating on his wife, not to mention. I don't even know if people care about things like that these days. But the defense argument is the same as the first time around, saying, yes, he was cheating on his wife. Yes, he was a bad guy for doing that, but he was having consensual affairs with these women. So now I think it's interesting that Harvey Weinstein and his legal team are seizing the social media conversation around Me Too right now, especially in regard to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. In fact, Harvey Weinstein has now inserted himself into the Baldoni and Blake Lively lawsuit because the same journalist at New York Times, Megan Twohey, authored the expose on Harvey Weinstein as well as the Justin Baldoni expose, which was allegedly colluded between her and Blake Lively's team. The same one, Megan Twohey, who was played by, I believe, Carey Mulligan in the movie about all of this. She's a star, right? And she's searching for the next story, and it was Justin Baldoni. So Harvey Weinstein decided to enter the ring, and he gave a statement to TMZ about the New York Times saying, watching Justin Baldoni take legal actions against the New York Times and its reporters, accusing them of manipulating communications and ignoring evidence that countered Blake Lively's claims hit me hard. It brought back everything I experienced when the Times reported on me in 2017. They did the same thing, cherry-picked what fit their story and ignored critical context and facts that could have challenged their narrative. I should have stood up and fought back then. I should have had the courage to speak out against the way the truth was twisted. That failure still haunts me. I'll be watching this case closely. It matters to anyone who's ever been on the receiving end of a media takedown, and even more to someone who's had to pay a high legal price. I'm imagining that Justin Baldoni wants nothing to do with Harvey Weinstein.
It was like what I say the other day. It's like when Diddy said to Kanye, like, hey, man, thanks for this. And it's like, that person's probably just like, maybe just don't shout me out.
Yeah, like, I don't want to be associated with you. Like, yeah, it's not a good thing for Baldoni's case that Harvey Weinstein is basically saying that they're brothers in arms against the New York Times. But interestingly, because Candace Owens has been covering the Baldoni lawsuit so heavily, she's also taken an interest in Harvey Weinstein and the claims made against him and started this series called Harvey Speaks on her channel. And I've been watching it up until it went on a brief hiatus. I haven't paid attention to a lot of the details, but I find it very interesting to go into the communications between Harvey Weinstein and his accusers, because you can tell by their emails they're exchanging between them. There's this flirty connotation to it all. And it's not something that the general public was aware of.
They weren't
that they were
allowed to see this,
basically
yeah.
glorified sugar babies using him for professional connections. And he was using them for sex. It's very transparently a one-for-one exchange. It's a quid pro quo. But the Hollywood Reporter said Candace Owens' latest crusade is exonerating Harvey Weinstein. The far-right and vociferous anti-Me Too commentator said she has been talking to Harvey Weinstein for years. And that's what I was surprised to hear. I'm not surprised she would take an interest in Harvey Weinstein's case, but the fact that she was talking to him since early 2022 and hadn't gone public with that until very recently. I'm just imagining Harvey Weinstein like on the prison phone at Rikers Island talking to her, and he has the nerve to accuse her and say, "Why are you supporting Kanye West? He's anti-Semitic."
She's like,
"You're Harvey Weinstein, dude. Like, you're gonna get on a moral high ground right now?"
She's like, I'm comfortable with being judged by you.
I just found that amusing. Yeah. But nevertheless, Weinstein is still following the commentary about his case from Candace Owens, as well as Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan is watching the series as well. And he talked about it on his podcast last month, saying he was persuaded to see these allegations in a different light. He said, "I can't believe I'm on Harvey Weinstein's side. I thought he was guilty of these heinous crimes. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. If this happened in the 80s, they probably would have thrown it out, but in the Me Too movement, it was a witch hunt." So Joe Rogan, the most famous podcaster in the world, is also on Harvey Weinstein's side and has the power to shift public opinion on him. Harvey Weinstein, at a recent hearing in court, gave a public thank you to the both of them, saying, "I want to take a moment to sincerely thank Candace Owens for believing in me and helping me reach millions of new supporters, and to Joe Rogan for amplifying that support even further. I'm going through a tough time right now. My health is not in a good place and the road ahead looks challenging, but the outpouring of encouragement has truly lifted my spirits. I'm holding on to hope, and I believe it's going to help carry me through."
I wonder if Joe Rogan's thinking like, bro, just because I don't think that these things necessarily are something you did doesn't mean I think you're a good person.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to support you.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like, Candace Owens has been very clear about finding Harvey Weinstein detestable, morally speaking. She just is saying that she doesn't believe he was criminally liable for these allegations.
Yeah. Like, not to say that, you know, trading sexual favors for roles in movies, or not even roles in movies, but the potential,
the promise of
maybe getting a role
road.
in a movie. Nobody's saying that that's moral. He's just saying that he doesn't necessarily believe the legal case against him.
Yeah.
But then you're tarred with the same brush if then that person's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for supporting me." He's like, "Bro, I'm not supporting you. I'm saying the case against you is weak."
But I can think of a more compelling reason for the public to see Harvey Weinstein in a new favorable light. People are noticing that ever since Harvey Weinstein was ousted from his position of power in Hollywood, it seems like all these actresses are just not hot. They're not hot anymore. 'Cause he was gatekeeping the industry and making sure all the actresses were hot smoke shows. And now you have the likes of the women in this collage: Bella Ramsey, Zendaya without makeup, Florence Pugh, and the formerly known as Ellen Page, Elliot Page. They're saying, "Say what you will, but this shit never happened on Harvey Weinstein's watch."
I mean, this just shows you how internet brained the world is now. Like, people don't perceive whether what they're saying is good, bad, or insensitive. They're just like, "Look, I'm just saying I noticed this."
And then there was this meme of like the dam of ugly bitches. Harvey Weinstein got ousted, and then it was just game over for Hollywood. And then another said, "We owe Harvey Weinstein an apology." Another one said, "There weren't all these ethnically ambiguous, ugly AF actors like Zendaya when Harvey Weinstein was in Hollywood."
Do you think that's what it was? Was it because of Harvey Weinstein, or do you think the culture was just shifting that way?
Yeah, I don't think that he would have survived in Hollywood regardless of whether the Me Too movement popped off, because things were already trending in that direction.
Oh, I disagree. I think at his level of a producer, I think that he could have, at the very least, shaped the culture around the movies he's making.
Okay, yeah.
He was funding. This is not a guy starring or writing the movies. This is the dude who's responsible for telling you who's going to be in them.
I don't think he was going to get away with the casting couch forever, is what I mean.
No, but casting only women that look a certain way? Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you think that these memes actually have a seed of truth?
No, I think the culture would have changed that way anyways. I think he would have operated in one corner where the people in his movies. It's like when they would make the jokes about the CW. Like, why does everybody in the CW have to be a ridiculously attractive? Like, they're comically attractive. You know, it's like it's supposed to be a normal person, but they look like a supermodel.
Illusion.
Yeah, it breaks the illusion. That was just what it was on that network. And I think that if he was never accused of these things, that he would have just continued to hire those people in those roles.
It has to depend on the genre, right?
Yeah.
I also was neglecting to mention one detail of these allegations. So it got to a point where there were so many accusers that they had to just narrow down who has even met Harvey Weinstein before.
To make sure that it wasn't just,
who has even met this guy? Who has even had sex with this guy, let alone whether it was consensual? And one way that Harvey Weinstein's lawyers narrowed down the pool of accusers was asking them about Harvey Weinstein's genitals. What do they look like?
I remember that.
And many of the women who did see his genitals reported that they were hermaphroditic in nature, that they were disgusting looking, mangled in some way. And that is in fact true, because I believe in the 80s, Harvey Weinstein suffered gangrene on his testicles. I can't imagine how that's possible, but it was a freak accident and he had to seek medical attention. What happened was they removed his testicles and sewed them into his upper thigh. So
I was so much happier before you described all this.
All of these women who were making accusations about him forcing them to do anything related to his testicles were proven to be liars because he doesn't have any there.
My gosh, let's go to Super Chats.
Just thought I'd add that. Shane H. Wilder, Pete Donovan said, "Happy Tax Day Tuesday, plebs. # repeal the 16th. Are you pro repealing the 16th?
You know what? I'm pro voluntarily paying taxes. If you
feel that strongly
if you're one of those people that wants to fund everything, go ahead and do it. And you know what? You do it under the guise of being allowed to decide where your tax money goes.
Okay. I mean, that used to just be called charity.
Yeah.
You know, donating to charities.
Look, I've seen more than a few things recently talking about like threads from like former libertarians talking about how ordered society can't work in the way they want it to. It's as utopian as communism is. And I agree for the most part. I kind of make the jokes about it all, but I do understand that there's something hilarious about the idea that we think that we can self-govern when people can't get along at all. But the answer then, the question becomes like, where do you draw the line? How do you manage something when the country's as big as it is? And the setup that we have now, you know, with 50 unique states with their own with their own governments is a better fix for that. But we've gone so far past the mandate of what the federal government is actually supposed to do that it's almost comical to think that you can reel it back in now. I'm still shocked about so did we get rid of the Department of Education? No. Right?
No. I walked past the building for the Department of Education in DC recently, and I just looked at the breadth of it, and I was like, yeah, they're not getting rid of it.
I mean, I just look at it, and I do think it's all so. It doesn't make me less idealistic about what I actually want, but I understand that it's never going to happen. But I've always been pragmatic in my views of those types of things. I also think that the people who truly believe in self-sufficiency are the ones who practice it every day, and a lot of times it's people who want less in the way of government intervention, but wouldn't necessarily be able to handle life without it.
I will just say the reason nothing ever happens, gang, is because of stuff like the Department of Education. everyone was saying like he's gonna abolish it. And if you had an ounce of sense, you would know that's not going to happen.
I mean, cutting back.
Then they're saying, oh no, like it's fine that he's not going to abolish it because he's going to scale it back and defund.
Well, that's the big ask.
That's not really a solution because, you know, he's leaving office in 2028 and anything that you just scale back rather than fully abolishing it is just going to be scaled back up by the next administration.
But the thing is if you scale back and then it's scaled back up, it scales back to size and it doesn't continue to bloat.
Okay, theoretically.
I'm saying that like what's the
in the long run.
The opposing argument is just to let it go wild, right? So they're talking about like the cuts being made by Doge and how it's just all going to be put into the black budget anyways, right? Like you save $250 billion and then we just advance the budgets there, right? I believe that 110%. That doesn't mean you shouldn't. I'm with Phil on this one because I used to laugh at Phil when he would talk about why it's a good thing to bring up in bills, like to abolish this department, right? I was like, well, nothing ever happens, nothing ever changes. He goes, no, if you put it in, it sets it up as an argument to be made in the future, and whatever cuts you can make, they stave off some of the bloat. And that sucks that it has to be that way, but that's the price you pay when you have term limits and you don't live in
Trump's monarchy.
In the monarchy.
DCNC said, now that you've told me to like the video, I ain't doing it. Pathological demand something something.
That's me.
It's pathological demand avoidance, and you all have it.
They're laughing about Doge cuts. Look, I'm not saying that a ton would be accomplished. I'm saying that trying to scale back federal government is a really good idea, even if it feels like a fool's errand. It's better that than just acquiescing to bigger and bigger government.
Weary Traveler said, Brett, you should try the energy drink called Redline if you really want to live.
I actually don't. Like, I found that Monster is like the one that's like not too much.
You do have an open 5-hour energy sitting right there. So that's pretty strong stuff.
No, there's a difference between the extra strength and the regular strength. I can't do the extra strength anymore.
I remember pulling an all-nighter in high school, taking an extra strength 5-hour energy in the morning,
just being like,
and it ruined my day. Yeah. I just ended up having a panic attack halfway through the day and like going home and sleeping.
It says like Redline. Somebody in the chat says Redline is crack. Redline is a heart attack in a bottle.
That's the problem though. None of it tastes good because of the chemicals they put in it.
So he says drink the C4. I had like a C4 once and I like couldn't feel my nose. And if I can't feel my nose and there's no look, I did a lot of drugs in my day. And if I can't feel my nose, there better be a corresponding feeling. I don't want to just not be able to feel my nose.
There better be a benefit.
Yeah, like I drank a C4, I couldn't feel my nose and felt nothing good to go with it. So just no.
Yeah. Deep South EDC said, since getting married, we always owed taxes. This year, first time filing with child, we owe $5,000 back. It's less because the back taxes are gay. Not sure if you meant you got the tax return or you owed $5,000, but
Kloonberg says Monster has less caffeine than a Bang. Yeah, I won't drink the Bang energy drinks either. I found my middle ground.
Remember when they sponsored Turning Point USA?
Bang Energy did?
I'm pretty sure they
What?
did.
Is that a thing? Did they have like Bang Energy girls like thirst trapping at...
Literally, yes. It was at a Turning Point event. I don't remember how long ago this was.
That can't be real.
It was sponsored by Bang Energy, and they had Bang Energy girls on the stage with t-shirt launchers.
Holy shit. I'm picturing...
No, actually, wait. It wasn't even t-shirt launchers. They were launching cash into the audience, and only the people in the front row were able to get any of the cash.
I'm picturing like 4 Bang Energy hoes, like 2 on either side of Charlie Kirk.
Literally, that's what it was. Yeah.
Whatever.
Crazy, I know. Shane H. Wilder said that crash sounded like my upstairs neighbor, the beached Landwell.
Yeah, could have been. I don't know.
It's still kind of popping off. I can hear it. Weary Traveler said he was an energy drink fanatic. She was a Taco Bell addict. Together, they joined forces and formed PCC AID to provide Puetzels to the Gongo. Will they succeed? That's the next AI trailer. The PCC movie trailer.
Aaron Howell in the chat says any job with a t-shirt launcher feels like a win. Kind of.
That is low key like one of my goals in life is to operate a t-shirt launcher.
Yeah.
Just aim for faces.
Well, there was that video of who was the WNBA girl, Plum, where she throws the t-shirt into like the upper deck of the stadium. Is it Kelsey Plum or Kelly Plum? Plum.
Kelsey, yeah.
And she launches this t-shirt, and they kept claiming that it hit the upper deck. It didn't hit the upper deck. It did just go really, really far. But
she's a basketball.
She's a basketball
player,
yeah,
right?
she's a WNBA player.
I only remember her name because of that clip of her eating popcorn quirkily.
Yep.
And everyone hating on her for it. That was such a discourse.
All right, let's hold off on the rest and let's come back. We've got more to get into today. And luckily, nothing else today is depressing.
No, it's all uphill from here.
Uphill from here.
Yeah. Ozempic is still all the rage in Hollywood, and people who used to be comically fat and use that as a selling point for their career as an entertainer are foregoing that because they secretly wanted to be skinny all along. I maintain that this podcast was one of the earliest people to talk about Ozempic and the impact this was going to have on Hollywood. And one of those character actors, I suppose, is Rebel Wilson, known for playing Fat Amy in Pitch Perfect. She lost her extra weight before Ozempic was really even in the conversation. But Amy Schumer has stood her ground through all of this. She is one of the conscientious objectors against Ozempic, and she recently posted this video clowning on the people who are claiming to be so happy on these weight loss injection drugs. Let's play this video. She looks terrible, by the way. Like, I know you can be Amy Schumer and like that's the bit, right? But like she looks bad even for Amy Schumer in this video.
I'm having deja vu right now.
Oh.
Like we've literally had this exact...
We talked about Amy Schumer during the Blue Origin segment, so maybe that's why.
There we go.
Hi, Amy here, having a good hair day. I wanted to share. I just want to say again, I'm loving being on Monjaro. Am I saying that right? Mounjaro. And I haven't found that it's affected anything. My meals are still very satisfying and they
Somebody needs a script. I'm sorry.
give me a lot of energy. Oh, full.
Here's where you actually find out why like people who create content for the internet now are their own brand of content creation, because she needs a script and an editor and all of these other things. Some regular fat person on Instagram is going to make a way funnier video about this.
That's true.
And it's going to be way more interesting.
Yeah, this one doesn't hit the same. But I just think, like, how can you hate from outside the club? I think that she's just coping and she's jealous of all the people who are shamelessly on Ozempic.
I mean, it's not like she couldn't afford it or find a doctor.
No, it's not that she can't afford it. It's about like maintaining her dignity in a way. She thinks that this is some kind of like stand that she's taking against the popular trend, you know?
Yeah.
One of the celebrities that people are saying has used Ozempic for weight loss is Lizzo.
It's kind of like Pamela Anderson. I will not wear makeup anymore.
Sort of, yeah.
I will go to this premiere with no makeup on and distract everybody and make it about me.
Exactly.
Because I'm a good person.
Or like, you know, women who get buzz cuts because, you know, being ugly is seen as virtuous now. But Lizzo is one of the celebrities accused of using Ozempic for weight loss. She claims otherwise, but with the speed of her transformation, it's hard to believe that. Here she is in a new selfie wearing a shirt that says insane body. She does look visibly smaller by far, actually. I don't know if she's continuing to lose weight or if she's happy where she's at now. But someone pointed out it's 2025 and Lizzo has a thigh gap.
Does that count as a thigh gap?
I would say no, but I'm not the thigh gap police.
For some reason, I always imagine that thigh gap meant the legs didn't touch.
One person commented, them Spanx holding on for dear life. But yeah, you know, this is real. Like, this is the society we live in
I
now.
would rather draw attention to that ridiculously, like, impractical phone case she has. What the hell is that thing?
Yeah, it's like a Sailor Moon themed phone case.
Okay.
It's unmanageably huge. But yeah, Meghan Trainor is one of the celebrities who has not lied to her fans about using Ozempic. She's very open about it, to the point where it's almost kind of disturbing. Like, she's proud of using Ozempic. She also revealed on a recent podcast episode that she's going on this Ozempic journey with her husband, Daryl Sabara. They're both on Mounjaro. And they're saying it's their journey together.
I guess, like, I don't know if I ever watched him act as an adult. I only ever saw him act as a kid, and he was just kind of doughy.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid,
This is my favorite photo ever. He looks like it's Weekend at Bernie's and he's dead, and she's propped him up there.
Yeah. He doesn't want to show his sallow eyes.
Yeah.
She said that they heard more and more from friends and doctors who were on Mounjaro and Ozempic, and they did the research. And then he says, so I did it too. Then she says, it's because Daryl and I both do everything together.
Even take their drugs together.
Yeah, it's a bonding experience.
So, like, what happens if they have to go on, like, chemo? Are they both going to take chemo?
Yeah. They
That's
do
not
everything.
good for
they
you
do
if you don't
everything
need it.
together.
Like,
you know? Like, if you wouldn't do Ozempic with your spouse, are you really
Are you even
in
committed?
love? Like, yeah, are you really in it for the long haul?
Yep.
So yeah, they're on that journey together. But I've been learning more about Ozempic and its parent company that manufactures it, which is called Novo Nordisk, recently. And I learned that it's still banned in Europe, actually. There's a bigger market for it, understandably, in the US because we have higher rates of obesity in this country, but there are also just more Americans to go around and buy this drug. But it is telling, right, that the FDA is more concerned about people accessing black market imitation Ozempic than they are concerned about the safety of Ozempic to begin with.
I mean, they have the same concerns about, like, tainted opiates and stuff like that because of fentanyl. Like, despite the fact that opiates are also very, very dangerous. There's a 20 there.
Yeah, we have a 20 from Darkall 55. Ghost energy drinks taste so good.
Have you
tried those?
They are. I mean, I've had those on this show, and I saw somebody else mention the Sour Patch flavors. Yeah, they are really good, but again, I don't like the way it makes me feel. It's too much sugar, too much caffeine. There's like a happy middle ground that I found.
I forgot the name of the person who was getting interviewed on Tucker's podcast last year about Ozempic, but you should go watch it if you're interested. He talked about why Ozempic is dangerous. It's not necessarily just because we have clinical studies on side effects. It's more so the fact that basically obesity is a health issue that's getting siloed away from all of its comorbidities. And you can treat just one siloed health issue without addressing the whole reason for it.
So they're saying that Ozempic is legal in Europe, but just only for diabetes.
Well, yeah, that was
Like,
how it was
it's not
in the
allowed
US
for,
as well.
It's not allowed for off-label use.
That was how it was in the US until 2022.
Shortages. It's been in short supply in Europe due to high demand and production. It's America taking
But
it all.
they will treat every symptom of obesity as a separate issue, basically. Like, they'll treat high blood pressure as its own issue and not encourage you to address
Make
the
lifestyle
whole issue.
changes, yeah.
That is more sales for big pharma. And also, even crazier, Novo Nordisk is funding the research. Basically, they're funding medical research at institutions like Harvard, for instance, into obesity.
Yeah.
So basically, the drug company that is selling you the magic pill for obesity is funding all the research into obesity.
I am sure there is no conflict of interest there.
That sounds totally normal. Yeah.
There's no conflict of interest
There's
there.
no way that could possibly go wrong.
No.
And also I learned that the NAACP is a registered lobbyist group for Novo Nordisk.
Okay.
And they claim that if you're against Ozempic, if you're critical of Ozempic, that's actually racist.
Because it disproportionately affects minority communities.
Obesity, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So if you're critical of Ozempic for off-label use, you are racist. That is an example of structural racism.
I always suspected.
But yeah, this was a recent warning from the FDA. They warn consumers not to use counterfeit Ozempic or semaglutides found in the U.S. drug supply chain. I can't imagine what kind of galaxy gas they are selling on the Ozempic black market.
Yeah, it's because like when you're making
out.
the counterfeit opiates, you got the fentanyl that's cut in there improperly, and then you die. But this, it's like, what do you put
I don't
in there?
even know.
Like three hits,
crushed up diet
hits
pills.
of meth, like a half an Adderall, and a banana.
And sugar, spice, and everything nice, you know?
It's so weird too, because like you said, the doctors don't want to, they want to create lifelong patients.
Yes.
And it's hard to have those conversations about what needs to be done to change your life, because nowadays there's such a focus on the concept of inequity that if you're like, look, if you want to lose weight, you're going to need to get exercise and eat right. They're going to be like, but I can't afford to eat right, and I'm working all day slaving away for my capitalist masters. I can't afford to take time out and get exercise. That's actually an argument people make now.
Yeah, well,
there is no faith put in the argument of taking responsibility for your own actions. And it does end up being those with diabetes that suffer, because there were shortages and there were people that legitimately need the medication that couldn't get it.
Well, this is why Weight Watchers is reportedly about to file for bankruptcy, because their entire business model was about personal accountability and basically tracking your portion sizes and your calories. That's all it was.
I wonder if the people that make Ozempic should just buy Weight Watchers and keep it up and running.
They might.
Yeah.
That's actually like a rumor that might happen.
That makes
the parent
perfect
company
sense.
might buy it. But Oprah jumped ship and endorsed Ozempic. She was an ambassador for Weight Watchers for years, and then she decided suddenly that food noise is just something you're born with and you can't overcome it. You just can't. Now the best, here's another holistic argument that people have against Ozempic, right? We should be targeting big food and big pharma, and we should be people who support like RFK and going after the artificial chemicals, preservatives, food dyes, etc., that are in all the food in the US, because European countries have way more restrictive regulations on food quality. Allegedly, that's one of the reasons why the US has such a high rate of obesity.
When people say, I went to this other country, I ate whatever I wanted, but I lost 10 pounds.
Right. But that also doesn't seem to follow for me. Oh, we have a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. Pfizer ended development of weight loss pill danuglipron last week.
I want to be able to give them the names. I do.
Works like a GLP-1. A trial patient experienced potential drug-induced liver injury. Both Lilly and Novo are working on their own version.
I believe it. 110%.
Yeah.
These companies are always investing billions of dollars into research.
But I want to address the personal responsibility thing, because I don't think it is viable for a lot of people.
Okay.
In a society where realistically we're not going to have the highest quality food, unless there's a complete and total overhaul of the FDA, or maybe
which once it's gotten
the
to the
FDA
point it's
gets
at
like
now,
abolished or something. Living in that reality And knowing that most people are not high in conscientiousness and they are surrounded by hyper palatable fake foods constantly at a low cost, there is no viable option for them to lose the weight. I realized that agency is not something that exists on a binary where some people have it and some people don't. Some people have more of it and some people have less of it to none of it. And it's sort of...
Can you explain that to me?
I think that agency is referred to like it's a trait that is just a human trait, like we all have it, you know? And I don't think that's true. In fact, I think that agency is probably a term we've come up with that combines a lot of different traits that you are either more or less prone to have genetically. And those include, you know, conscientiousness, IQ, and, you know, some people have a natural amount of wherewithal that others simply do not have. And
when I think
this is the state of affairs now.
When I think of agency, I think of culpability and responsibility. So I do think of it on the binary. Like, are you capable of looking after yourself? Do you pay your own bills? Are you able to function in society? If so, then you either have agency or you don't. Maybe I have an unsophisticated thought process on it. And it's not to say that I don't sympathize or even empathize with people who struggle with those types of things. I struggle with stuff like that as well. But that doesn't make me not responsible for my own actions. Maybe I'm perceiving agency differently.
What I'm saying is you're responsible insofar as you're responsible, basically. And some people have a higher capacity to make a major change in their lifestyle.
Well, I mean, there's the argument,
others.
right, that there's you know, you see the people who change their lives, but usually it has to get real bad for that to happen. But that doesn't mean that the people who don't make the effort to change their lives don't have agency over their own actions.
Not always, no. But I think that, okay, I want to be clear. This is not even me making an argument in favor of Ozempic as a response to
I didn't think you
obesity. But it's the best argument for Ozempic that exists. The best argument that exists for Ozempic is that some people in society, perhaps even a majority, just do not have the conscientiousness and the wherewithal and the intelligence and basically self-governance to make the change and lose the weight the traditional way.
See, when I think of agency, I think of like, you also have the agency to make the choice to take the medication, but so far in is that you know what it can do, you know what the risks are, you know what comes with it, and if you so choose to do that, you are responsible for the consequences if it doesn't go the way you want it to. Like, you have the agency to say to myself, I can take the hard way, I can take the slightly easier way that has serious side effects if something goes wrong.
Okay.
And you as an adult, you know, assuming that you're in control of your own faculties, are responsible to either do the research into both paths and decide which one works best for you. Now, you can look down on the person who chooses door number 2, but I'm not going to feel bad for them if they did the research, they understood what is possible, what could happen, and then the bad thing happens.
Well,
I guess we might just be perceiving agency differently.
What I'm saying is, like, the hypothetical person that you just referenced isn't really the average person. It takes actually like no agency whatsoever to just get prescribed a drug and take it because it's what you're told is the solution to the problem. We have another 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. Mary, where does your definition of agency land in the nature versus nurture argument? I think that it has to do with both. I think that I've known people who had an upbringing that didn't cultivate these traits. There are also people who I believe are born with a lower capacity for what we call agency, just genetically. And agency is this umbrella term for a lot of different factors that simplifies it, and it's too reductive.
That's because, legally speaking, you're, like, in the eyes of the law, you're an adult who can make your own choices.
I think that
you're thinking of it as a far less
think about the IQ spectrum, though. Like, think of agency the same way you think of intelligence.
Okay.
Some people have more and less.
Wouldn't it just be intelligent? Oh, okay. All right.
Basically.
I guess.
That's all. That's my view.
Maybe I'm just lower on the IQ spectrum, so I'm a dummy, and I'm like, I can't perceive it that way. I can't. Then it's like I have to look at everybody in the world that I talk to that way, when really most people would just really say, "Are you an adult? Make your own choices. Are you an adult? Accept the consequences of your actions."
The chick who found herself in Harvey Weinstein's bedroom.
You're an adult. You found yourself in Harvey Weinstein's bedroom. What he did to you was wrong.
That's a comforting thought, but it's not true. That's just my take. Everyone debate me. Okay, let's go to Super Chats. Greg Duvier said, "Since when are we sending Pretzels to the Gongo? I thought we sent packing peanuts. If that is the case, need to switch my order. Let's go."
Yep.
Yeah, I think they need both. The packing peanuts just don't really satiate. They're kind of the consistency of air.
Yeah.
So the pretzels will have to do.
Let's do 2 more, because we got one more topic here.
The Rumbling said, "I just finished my 2-hour flight and ate my pretzels with 2 shots because who knows when a femme pilot might land the plane upside down thinking she's at the club."
One of the best
The
memes
club.
yesterday was like Jeff Bezos accomplished the universally impossible task of getting 5 women to leave on time.
Yeah, that they were all like, I forgot my road lip gloss. I forgot my setting spray. Wait.
Let's do one more here.
Isaac S. said, "We're supposed to feel happy that 304s went to space on a spacecraft made by men in a program made by the modern-day Lex Luthor." Is Jeff Bezos what you call the modern-day Lex Luthor?
I disagree with that.
Is it Elon? Who is it?
I don't think either of them are.
Okay.
I think maybe the reason my argument falls on the different side of the spectrum when it came to the Ozempic topic is like when you go through rehab, you're taught like whatever happened to you, like it's awful, and you have to deal with whatever happened to you that might have caused you to behave a certain way. But at the end of the day, you're still responsible for your own actions. So once you engage with that, you had childhood trauma, it led to drug addiction. Okay, you work through the trauma, but that doesn't give you the license and excuse to start using again. You harm yourself and those you love when you take the easy way out. And that's not always easy to hear, because it's kind of like we live in a society now that wants to give people the soft landing with a lot of things. And it's not easy for somebody to be like, okay, that, like, you don't often hear that anymore, where they're like, that sucks. What are you going to do about it? Like, that's the argument I tend to fall on when people talk about the food stuff. I'm not even saying they're wrong. I'm saying that sucks. What are you going to do about it? Because the only person who can actually control whether you lose weight is you. Society can't do that for you.
I appreciate that perspective as well, but I also think that perspective resonates more with people who are like us, the two of us right now. We are people who probably just have a higher level of agency, if you want to call it that, than most. So we hear a message like that and it just resonates more strongly. But we have to move on to the next topic.
Yes, let's move on.
Yes. I have taken notice of a phenomenon in the...
Hold, please.
Oh.
Well, this is a good one. I don't have to cut this one out. We can just restart.
This is your trigger warning, by the way. Trigger warning about boy moms.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Let's take it from the top, as they say.
Let me just wait for that money gun, though.
Oh, you want the hold?
Hold, please.
Hold, please. Wow, that one just felt longer than usual.
There's that.
Here we go.
Okay. I have taken notice of a phenomenon in the toxic online mom sphere that is boy moms. These women identify as such because they have sons, and they decide to share about their inordinate attachment to their sons on social media and commiserate with each other about letting go when their sons grow up. They post quotes like the following: "I asked God for a man who will always love me, so he sent me my son."
Okay.
these are the type of sentiments that they post, and they expect it to be seen as relatable and normal.
Well, is it supposed to be like the reverse end of the spectrum for men? It's like the only person who's ever going to love you unconditionally is your mother.
It is, yeah. But that's the boy on the end of the boy mom.
Yes.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah. If they have this insane umbilical attachment.
If I'm being completely honest, and I've said this to you before, I thought the fact that we started categorizing parents down to genders was really weird.
Totally agree.
From the very beginning, I thought boy mom and girl dad was unnecessarily divisive and poor.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think that both terms should be retired, but the boy moms are noticeably more vocal and weirder than the self-proclaimed girl dads.
You know why that is, right? Because the girl dads will get side-eyed, the boy moms will not.
I hope that we can start side-eyeing
the moms
boy
too.
moms into silence, because it's just gotten out of hand. First off, I want to show a TikTok from a self-proclaimed boy mom who is preparing to go to prom with her own son.
What the fuck?
I mean, or maybe actually she is kind of making herself her son's second date to prom. That's more accurate to what she's saying here. Here's her I know you hate this too, when women do their makeup in a TikTok. That's what we're about to watch.
This is the most insidious thing that's happened on the internet in the last 20 years. That's my hyperbolic take.
I'll get ready with me for my son's first prom. I am so excited that this day is finally here. I cannot wait for y'all to see my dress. I have been planning this for a while. It is so cute. It's gonna be like the perfect mother-son matching moment. I didn't have time to get my hair and makeup done like all the other girls.
You heard
so I
smoke
hope
alarm,
that
by
my
the way.
makeup and my hair turns out good. I have to help get Mason ready. It really doesn't matter as long as Mason thinks I look beautiful.
It's starting to feel fake. It's so.
If you say so. If you say so.
Is the video sped up? Am I the only one who feels like the video is sped up?
Maybe slightly.
Okay.
My dress is black and Mason's date's dress is red. I can't wait to show y'all the flowers that I ordered for myself for Mason to give me. They are
This is
so
fake.
pretty.
It has to be
I
fake.
really hope
This can't be
someone's going to
real.
be there so they can capture that moment because it is going to be so cute. I did get a spray tan this morning. I did have time to work that in. The girl that sprayed me was precious. I told her, you have got to spray me quick because I'm going to prom tonight, so make me look good. I have got to set my makeup so that my makeup lasts all night. The after prom party theme is Y2K, right up my alley. Now that
Okay. I may not be religious. This is satanic.
Yeah.
There is a dark
It
evil.
It is.
About
it's sinister. It is.
every single aspect of this.
No, I completely agree.
Look, I saw Bates Motel.
Yeah. Yeah.
that my makeup is done, I am going to put on my dress. Here is the final look. Here is my dress.
That's even crazier.
My flowers, so pretty. I love this dress. I got it from the thrift store for $4. My earrings are from
Okay, she's just lying about that.
That's a
She paid full price for that dress.
Expeditions. My bangle is from the Golden Hanger. My flowers, they are from Mason. And I did get Mason a boutonniere, and his date also got him one. We'll see which one he likes better.
Imagine being Mason's date in this situation. Like, the way I would run, not walk away from this kid.
Now it's time to go take pictures. Love you guys.
Now, I know you think it might be a parody. I understand.
If it's not, it's Satan.
I understand why you say that, but I've seen so much deranged boy mob behavior that this is believable. Like, they do this much and worse. So even if it is a parody, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility when it comes to boy moms. Another boy mom shared that she was getting ready for a date with her 12-year-old son.
The only hope that that first kid has is that he has a father who yells at him when he holds the flashlight wrong.
Oh no, here's the thing. All of this could be fixed if she just went on a date with her husband. All of this could be fixed if she, you know, had a good relationship with her husband instead of making her son into her husband.
Okay.
But she can't do that. Yeah, this mom is preparing for a date with her 12-year-old son.
doing this thing with my son who is now 12. I give him $50 and once a month he gets to take his mom out on a date. It's really nice because we get to spend thoughtful, intentional time together. But the catch is that I make him plan it. I want him to learn to be thoughtful and creative when it comes to planning dates with women. I know that $50 is not a lot of money to...
Okay, so like, couldn't she like teach him this skill set in like a less weird way?
I'm sure there are
like,
different ways.
I actually don't agree with the idea of what she's trying to teach him.
You don't disagree, you mean?
Yeah, I don't disagree with what she's trying to teach him, but she's doing it in the weirdest way possible.
Yeah, there are definitely better ways to teach your son how to date.
To plan a date, but that's the point of all of this. Don't need a lot of money to plan something special. I always encourage him to have fun with it, so let's see what he comes up with.
My money.
Also, just turning it into content makes it creepy.
Yeah, I agree.
The act of making
Including
content
him in
out
the
of
video.
it makes it creepy.
So they go to see a movie.
Did she teach him that movies are a horrible first date because you don't get to actually learn anything about the person?
Then they
You're
go
not
to
even
dinner.
doing your job as a mom.
They go to dinner after.
Me to the bathroom.
Yeah, thank you. That's all.
Notice they sat on the same side.
Interesting. So thank you. In the video.
I hate everything about this.
Overrated. It's terrible.
Thank you. Good job.
So that's also another thing that I can defend. You're teaching him how to have good manners with a waiter.
I found the second one less
Less
weird.
offensive.
The second one I think suffers more from the fact that it's being turned into content.
Agree.
Rather than necessarily in making a get ready with
Also,
me video.
I feel like ideally your son learns how to treat women and how to date and how to what all those things mean from watching his parents' relationship. And how that works, and how his dad treats his mom.
I mean, if she's
that's not the reality
a,
for a lot of kids these days.
let me make the most charitable interpretation of then. Her father was a soldier who died in war, or his father is a soldier who died in war, and she's loved him from the moment they met, and she has not remarried because she loved him so much that she wants to teach him life lessons, and she hasn't remarried. That's my charitable interpretation of how this happened.
Well, we have
her husband was a war hero.
We have an example or two that have zero charitable interpretation.
I forgot about
We
this
would
one.
be remiss not to mention this one from an Instagram influencer. She runs up to her son at his football game and straddles him.
I forgot about this one.
This was completely real. Why?
Okay.
Why would you do that?
Okay. That's an old. I remember that one from like, was that like 2 years ago now?
She captioned it, "This boy will forever and always have my entire heart."
Okay.
When I walked up to hug my baby boy after his game, he immediately picked me up and just held me. It may have been 20 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute. I have no idea. But in this moment, time stood completely still. I honestly don't know what I did to deserve you, but I am thankful for every second of every single day with you. That is a caption that you would see in reference to someone's boyfriend or husband,
Correct.
not someone's son. And most disturbing of all, this was one recently posted by a friend of the show, Libby Emmons. Actress who used her dead son's sperm to have his daughter via surrogate when she was 68 gives major update on her granddaughter. She had a child with her son via surrogate.
What did I see the other day? Noah, get the boat.
Yeah. And you know, this is the most sinister conclusion of the boy mom mentality. It's basically moms making their sons into their husbands. That's the term emotional incest. That's why it exists. It's because of people like this.
Okay, well, I was wrong. This segment was worse than I thought.
It really needs to stop, though. These people, again, like, normalize less things and stigmatize more things. Boy moms should be stigmatized for this behavior. And they will legit tell you that all of this is normal, and if you have a problem with it, you're the crazy
The creation of the term relates directly to social media and the fact that it's a searchable idea. Okay. Before, you just had moms that had sons and dads that had daughters, and turning it into a term means that it's something that's done for social media validation, which is insidious.
I think it also should be mentioned, I think the moms who do this, who identify as boy moms and insert themselves into their sons' lives this way, are deeply unhappy in their own marriages or lack thereof, and are using their son as like the male figure in their life.
And it puts
which is why
beyond the fact that
that's why it's satanic, by the way.
And beyond the fact that it's, abnormal, it puts a ridiculous amount of expectation on a kid to live up to something that was never his job to live up to, because it's not natural.
And this is why also, like, it's such a stereotype that everyone hates their mother-in-law, right? Because of like nightmarish women like this who never got called out on their shit. That's why. Okay, let's finish up the super chats.
Let's do it.
Terrence Rice said, to my knowledge, there's always been AO content on Steam. You can disable it for your storefront in the settings. There's also parental controls, which I use so my kid doesn't peep this weird degen shit. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you do. I don't have Steam, so I didn't know whether that was like allowed on the platform. Omega Red Fan said, they said, okay, team, how can we make a game more obscene than GTA? I know. Make criminal infidelity DLC. That's so crazy, bro. I mean, GTA isn't even that bad compared to what's out there now.
That whole segment
Times
was
have
depressing.
changed. Shane H. Wilder said, if you have a propensity to violence, then violent video games can exacerbate that. A normal person would have a physical revulsion to a grape game.
Yep.
Agree. Arsenal Man said that game got the Streisand effect.
Yep.
True. I Keck Therefore I Meme said Katy Perry kicked some nuns out of a convent in LA. I remember that controversy. That was crazy. But people don't remember that. And actually, I remember when people were bringing that up more recently, her fans just defend it because they're like, good.
We don't like nuns anyways,
hate nuns.
they said.
We hate old nuns. And I think it's just anti-Catholic sentiment. Yep. Shane H. Wilder said, I'm fine with stigmatizing more things. Lack of stigmatization is what got us into this mess in the first place. Completely agree. I'm pro-bullying. Pop Culture Junkie said, Mary, the positioning and presentation of your argument about the violent video game was well-reasoned and smart. Former debate club member?
Were you on the debate club?
I was.
Okay.
I was in debate club in high school, but it was short-lived because they started the debate club when I was a junior, and not that many people were interested in it. It was only like loser nerds like me. So, yeah.
There's a 20 there
really
from
long.
DCNC.
Let me find it.
I
don't see it.
It says, I bet this isn't the first or only game with this kind of content. How different is it from women's romance novels? For me, the problem is as soon as something is on the internet, kids will inevitably get their hands on it.
Well, for the record, I am against pornography in all of its forms, literary, video games, what have you, and I'm against these romance novels that you are referring to, and I do think that it is destructive to someone to consume that kind of material. However, I did see someone reply with like, oh, but these women like 50 Shades of Grey or whatever. That book is not about a woman getting raped. It's just not. And I think it's degenerate, and I think it's gross and slimy and disgusting and pornographic. But what it isn't is an actual depiction of a woman getting raped and eroticizing that.
Yeah, but there is the type of thing where it's like it borders the line of that.
Not really,
consensual.
from my understanding.
Not in that book. I'm saying in that genre.
The genre?
Yes.
Absolutely. That book was brought up as an
I'm
example.
not saying
and
that
I was
book.
like,
I'm saying,
not
but
really.
that genre of like bordering the line on grape
Yes.
is absolutely a thing.
Yes, and I hate all of it. So let's just ban all of it when I'm dictator. Weary Traveler said, the last time I checked, I live in the USA, not England, bruv. Same. Rapscallion said, favorite word? Let me try this. Hippopotomonstrosesquipedaliophobia. Fear of long words.
Have you ever seen that meme? And then it says, it's Skeletor. It says the man who who gave it the name.
Yeah,
like
he
laughing
must
at
feel
you.
proud of himself.
Also, the fear of palindromes name is a palindrome.
What is it?
I have to
darn.
look it up.
Surenko Productions said Brett's favorite word is nourishing. It is. This was close to a $20 super chat, but not quite.
$19.92.
Just 8 cents off. Alejandro Reyes said, I'm running 10 minutes behind, but just want to say I really enjoy Brett and his commentary, despite always getting his name wrong on accident, I promise.
That's okay.
It's literally spelled with one T in the super chat.
Bro, that's okay.
Sure, it's an accident.
It's become an ongoing joke
Yeah.
that whenever I do any other podcast appearance, if they say my last name wrong, I don't correct them. I don't care.
Dasovic.
Dasovic.
That was the worst one I heard. Gordon Shumway said someone needs to do an AI video of Bob Dylan singing a song called Nourishment and give it to Mary for cringe of the day.
I would just turn it off.
Yeah, let's hoodwink Brett. Ryan, the Eating Warrior, sent us a 20. You guys see the IRL kick streamer Vitali rotting in a Filipino jail for being a nuisance? Good riddance.
I didn't see that. I know that Johnny Somali is in trouble over in South Korea.
He's still in South Korea.
I think he's still in South Korea. I might be amazing. Guys, let me know. I mean, I'm always seeing like minor updates about it.
Deserved if true.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said, the look on Brett's face when he hears about Harvey's gangrenous balls is a vibe and not a good one. Same, Brett. Same.
I mean, the sad thing is I've heard that story before and it still disgusts me just
Yeah.
hearing it spoken out loud.
I didn't know it beforehand. Weary Traveler said, I can only take the 5-hour energy extra strength because regular strength doesn't work for me anymore, but I used to do cocaine, so go figure.
See, that's the thing is I did plenty of the bad stuff back in the day too. I've just found a good middle ground. And eventually I should cut it all out. I shouldn't be doing any of the energy drinks or the 5 hours energies or anything like that. But you know what? Too bad.
DCNC said, what's the capital of North Dakota?
I have no idea.
I don't even know.
No clue.
Yeah. We're not going to start with the geography quiz.
I do remember, if I remember correctly, there was like a joke in the movie Coyote Ugly where the lady who owns the bar says she's from Piedmont, North Dakota, but Piedmont's in South Dakota or something like that.
Oh, they didn't even know.
There's some trivia for you.
The Manic Mustache said, I drank a C4 one time, my mouth went numb, my skin started crawling, and when I woke up that morning, my house was still dirty. Hashtag bring back grapefruit Red Bulls. Stay toxic, my friends.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like, what's the point of it if it doesn't actually give you energy or make you feel good? I'm not advocating for, recreational drug use, but back in the day, if you couldn't feel your face, there was a
there are
purpose
pros
to
and
it.
cons, okay? Yeah. BS Productions said, best word in the English language is enigmatic. The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
They're saying, what is it?
What?
I just read the capital here. Bismarck.
Oh.
Is that the capital? I have no idea.
Sounds
Somebody could be
familiar.
giving us fake news.
Bubblegum Gun said, Bezos is one divorce away from being Lex Luthor. Well, he hasn't even married Lauren Sanchez yet, so give it a chance. Kenneth Hart said, Brett, well, now I'm not going to do it, meme Dasovic.
Can't make
It's
me.
literally you.
I thought this was America.
Brian Bledsoe said, Brett, that Turning Point event was in 2020 at the Student Action Summit in Florida. Sent the video to you on X.
Let me see if I can find it.
Wow, I can't believe the video is still out there. That's crazy.
Did just nobody at Turning
Thank you. What were you saying?
Found it.
Folks.
This is a real thing.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Folks, we're trying to get that thing rolling.
That's not actually Charlie Kirk, though, right?
No.
Okay.
The cash is going to the front row.
All right.
It's so awkward and silent and bright in there.
Checkmate. Let's go. Put some money in there and let's go.
How much did they get paid?
I don't know.
I gotta know. Gordon Shumway said, "Holy Oedipus, Batman, get that woman a date with a man her own age. This is pathetic." Agree. Shane H. Wilder.
The first one really was so bad.
It should be her husband.
I have to believe it was fake.
She should go on a date with her husband if that's what she wants. Shane H. Wilder said, "This is Oedipal AF. I hate it." Agree.
Wait, is it Oedipal or Oedipal? I thought it was Oedipal.
It's both.
Okay.
I don't know. Depends on who you ask. Sorenco Productions said $50 for all that. The movie alone would have been $30 for the two of them, even without any snacks. This is definitely staged.
Fake!
Not if it's on a Tuesday night.
Might have been on a Tuesday.
$7 movie night.
I mean, in which case, you know, she's got to teach her son, like, you know, a certain type of woman isn't going to want to find out that you were bargain hunting while taking her on a date. But maybe, you know, one who doesn't mind that you were bargain hunting on a date won't be so materialistic. Did she teach him that?
Tuesday night is an odd day for a date anyway.
He's got school the next morning. He shouldn't be out that late.
Night. Tyler Dalrymple said, "Bring back the asylums." Completely agree.
Yeah.
Make asylums great again. Pete Donovan sent us a poem. Last but not least, if you have a drink, I'll tax your glass. If you mow your lawn, I'll tax the grass. If you need a shirt, I'll tax your back. If you take the train, I'll tax the tracks. Tax man. Is that a reference to something? I don't know.
Speaking of which, I'm going to end the poll. 47% of you did do your taxes. 41% of you say taxation is theft. 10% of you are just lazy and didn't do them.
You're going to
and
get
fiscally irresponsible.
audited by the IRS. We have a 20. Where is it?
From DCNC says, FYI, biggest game on Steam, Australian dev got into trouble for Indian giver. Is that like a, you're not allowed to say that?
I don't know.
As an achievement, you sell drugs to someone, then pickpocket them back. Not racial in Australia. Probably introduced in World War II from U.S. soldiers.
When I was playing, what was it? Assassin's Creed.
Mm-hmm.
When I was playing Assassin's Creed, my favorite thing to do was pickpocket people. So I completely understand the impulse.
They're saying that's a Beatles song, but we know that the Beatles suck. So
yeah, we don't listen to the
Mm-hmm.
Beatles here. Pete Donovan said, Katy Perry says, "I really feel connected to that strong, divine feminine." Well, that's what you get for waking up in Vegas. Such a good song. That was a bop.
That was a good one.
That was a bop. Ryan the Eating Warrior. Oh, I already read that one. Shane H. Wilder said, "Fear of palindromes. Ibophobia?"
Yep, look at how it's spelled.
Which is a palindrome, yes. Defending Truth said, "I was never happy my mom died. Then I saw that clip." Yikes. Well, I hope your mom didn't act like that. Shane H. Wilder said, "Mary did crack with Alex Stein once. I synced it." It's true.
Synced it.
It's true.
Okay.
Only the best for Alex Stein's guests.
Did the fourth crisis party go off?
I thought so.
Okay. All right.
We're losing it.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new here? But really, like the video. We want likes on the video.
We mean it this time.
Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. If you guys want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would like to listen rather than watch the show. If you want to rate and review, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Also helps. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.